Hi everyone, I'm Chrissy B and welcome to this week's Chrissy B Show, filmed in our bright and colourful London studio. Now this colour scheme was carefully chosen as we wanted something with lots of warm colours with different tones of orange and green to look bright and happy. And that's what this show aims to do, to help lead you to a brighter, happier life. Hold on a minute, why are you looking confused? Something wrong? Are you seeing something different to what I'm seeing? Yes, that's right, I'm talking about bright colours, but all you're seeing is black and white. Cue the colour, please. That's what it's like for some people with a mental health issue. No matter how much you tell them they're pretty or handsome, they're talented, a lovely person, they just can't see it. So we've titled today's show, I Don't See What You See. To illustrate this point, I have a very special guest called Joseph Cornforth, who contacted me recently to tell me about his struggles. Now, even though he has a lot going for him, he felt like he was inferior to everyone else in terms of his studies, friendships, relationships, and more, and started to feel low, ashamed, and useless. Now, he's going to be telling us about the things he's been through, and will also be joined by our resident psychologist, Dr Audrey Tang, who's been assisting him. And Dr Rob Hicks will be answering your medical questions in this week's Drs Answers. We also have a treat for you, as we'll be welcoming on a lovely couple, Giancarlo and Katie Caldesi, who are chefs, food writers and restaurateurs. Now, they've featured in numerous TV shows such as Return to Tuscany, BBC One's Masterchef and Saturday Kitchen, and BBC Two's Out of the Frying Pan and Sunday Brunch on Channel 4. They'll be talking about their new book, The Long and Short of Pasta, and showing us one of their recipes. And we also have on lovely Lily Suter to answer all of your nutritional questions later on. So let's start our show with real-life story guest Joseph Cornforth and Dr Audrey Tang. So hello Joseph and Audrey.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
So I'm going to start with you, Joseph, because you've got quite a powerful story, and there's an angle of your story that I really want to explore, which
sure.
Audrey's going to be commenting on as well. First of all, can we start off? How was life growing up for you?
Life was fine. I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome at the age of 3.
Okay.
Because I was young, I didn't think anything of it at first. So yeah. I mean, childhood was pretty fine actually, but I don't think it was until my sort of teenage years, I think, I started to have started to experience some mental health issues.
Okay, what kind of mental health issues?
Well, I got very just depressed a lot. I think because I was in a special needs school, and then when I was, I think it was secondary school, I started going part-time to a mainstream school, and I think then I kind of had a bad habit of kind of comparing myself to others, because obviously, because I was in a special needs school, I was kind of around, you know, my own kind, if you will. And I think being around you know, a more mainstream environment, you know, you're around people that, so it was kind of intimidating, especially. Was
that coming from you though, or was it just the way you were feeling, or did other people at the mainstream school start to treat you in a bad way? What would you say?
I got, I think at first, I think it was like year 7 and 8, I did get picked on quite a bit. Nothing severe, so it wasn't like, you know, nothing, but you know.
So it was mainly coming from you then, like what you felt
it was
about
like
yourself.
giving a hard time. But when I was in a teenager, I mean, I didn't get picked on or anything. I was fine, but I think it was just like, you know, I kind of felt pressurised by, you know, because everyone had a sort of what I would say, you know, normal lives. So they had like, you know, lots of friends and you know, they had you know, relationships, things like that. And because because I wasn't at that stage, it did get to me quite a bit.
Okay.
Because it was like, you know, because then I had that habit of, like, you know, comparing myself to others and realising just how different I was.
How much did that affect you when you saw, you know, when you're comparing and seeing that other people had things that you didn't?
Yeah, I think it did affect me. I think, like, back at home, I think it started a lot of anger issues I had at home, so I would get quite, you know, angry, and I've never been, like, physically abusive, but verbally, though, I will admit I have actually been quite verbally abusive towards my family, which I do regret, obviously. And I picked up, and I think over the years I started picking up some habits. So when I was a teenager, because you know, I was at that age of curiosity, I picked up I think an unhealthy habit of looking at pornography, which I know is probably not the coolest thing to admit on national TV, but you know, but that's what I did at the time, because I think it was just about, you know, curiosity and just learning about, you know, and just kind of learning about sexuality and things like that. So I did pick up that habit.
And then further down the line, because obviously, you know, you're going through all these things, comparing yourself and feeling that you weren't like other people. What would you say your lowest moment was, and how did you deal with it at the time?
It started, I think, I think this was around my final year at uni, because I think at uni I started, you know, again, it was another habit of comparing myself, because again, I was in a mainstream environment. And I remember when, I think when I was at uni, I even, because I was so different, I actually even fabricated, not like big things, but just little things about myself. So, because I went to uni quite late, I would just say, like, I was, like, you know, a couple of years younger than what I actually was, because I just wanted to be a normal person, you know, and it was just that desire to. You
felt you weren't normal, but I'd just like to bring Audrey in here, actually, because how did the two of you meet, Audrey?
Well, we met at university, but at the time when Joseph was now doing his Masters. So you've already got your degree, and so for me, it's very powerful to hear all of this, very emotional, and in my mind, I came across somebody who has already got a degree, who is doing their Masters, to all intents and purposes, very successful. And to then see that this is how you're actually feeling, having achieved all of those different things, especially with the diagnosis of Asperger's, especially with all of the pressures you put on yourself, that's absolutely amazing. But we'll get to that in a moment, because what I do at university is I run the student enrichment program, and one of the sessions or one of the programs within that is mindfulness, and what that does is it's a supplemental, not a substitute for the counselling service. So we complement what's being offered to students anyway, because we know that university life is very stressful anyway. You do get that comparison, you do get those feelings of pressure, you do get the feelings of I'm not good enough, plus the stress of actually being at university. So where mindfulness comes in is it teaches you really practical techniques with dealing with anxiety, dealing with all of those issues which maybe aren't serious enough perhaps, or aren't disturbing your life enough to go to counselling, but it's gives you a practical way of channeling that energy. And so some of the exercises we might work on is, if we just take anxiety as an example, if Joseph was feeling anxious, it's very easy for anyone to say, oh, just breathe deeply, or just calm down. Whereas actually what we do in classes is things like, well, find the seconds on the clock and follow that hand round, count those, actually focus on something outside of you, and that gives you the ability to calm down, because you're focusing on your breathing and counting. You're not telling yourself calm down, which
sometimes makes it worse.
Exactly. Then we do a lot of practical exercises, head muscle relaxation, feeling the difference between tension and relaxation, and one of the most important things when you run any sort of program or any teaching job is the importance of listening to students and really hearing what their experiences are. And one thing, as I said, surprises me is, why do you think you're so unsuccessful? Why do you think all of those things? Why do you compare yourself so unfavourably to others? But of course, if I were to immediately, when Joseph raised that in class, oh, what are you talking about? Because you're so successful, you've got your master, you've got your degree, you're doing a master's, what are you complaining about?
Yeah,
well, there's a barrier
shut down.
straight away, because I haven't believed that you do feel insecure, that you do feel like a failure compared to other people.
Yeah.
And the only way that we can actually work with anyone who wants to change their behaviour or change their thought process is by validating and accepting this is how you feel.
Yeah.
That may not be what I see, that may not be what anyone else sees of you, but that is how you feel, and that is absolutely acceptable. And we start from there.
That is so
And then
important.
change.
Because I remember also when I was depressed, Joseph, as well, people used to say, well, certain relatives, why are you depressed? You've got so much going for you. You're young. You've got your whole life ahead of you. And it's like, I don't want to feel this way, but this is how I feel.
Yes.
And then you don't want to keep talking about it because you feel that person doesn't understand you.
I think because of my Asperger's, I think the reason why I don't feel successful, because it's like, what someone would say is an achievement for me would actually be quite standard to someone else. Like when I was, I think I was 16, I was awarded a Princess of Diana Award, which normally would be considered a great achievement, but because I think because of my Asperger's, and it was like, it's like, is it really an achievement? So I do question about whether or not it is.
Yeah, and it's interesting though, because maybe there's other people that are looking at you and comparing themselves to you and feeling this in a way inferior, if you like, because they're thinking, oh, I wish I had a master's and I wish I could do this. And it's funny, isn't it? How it's just really how we look at ourselves and how we see things.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head when you question, oh, did I get this because I've got Asperger's? Did they feel sorry for me? Is this a pity thing? And actually one of the points about validation is that we accept the effort you have put into it, and hopefully in accepting that is helping you to accept the effort is just as important in terms of achievement as the achievement itself. And so if you are putting that much more effort in because you've got Asperger's, recognise that and celebrate that. There's nothing wrong with that. And that sets a great example to other people.
Yeah, but I think also, like, being back at home, I mean, my mum would often... Mum would often make appointments for me to go to like mental health centres and stuff like that, and I can't fault them, but I think at the time, I just felt criminalised, and I felt like I was just that much of a burden. So and I think my mum would often. I think if I ever wanted something like. I want to get me like a special needs version of something. Like if I want to make new friends, it had to be people with special needs. I don't like the idea of being. I'm not saying I don't want to be friends with someone who's disabled, but I just don't like the idea that I would like me and a disabled person should automatically be friends. I think I should be able to make friends with someone, based on their personality rather than their disability. And because I have younger siblings, and because they don't have. Because they're not disabled, and they're quite successful in life. That makes me feel inferior. Like I have a younger brother who's he's got this great job, and he has all these girlfriends and everything. And because I'm now in my 30s and I've never had a girlfriend of some sort, that often makes me feel inferior. And it's just being around her.
I think the love life thing is a big issue for you, isn't it?
Well, it was. Well, I'm not on TV saying, I want to or anything like that. But because I think that's just the pressure I feel. Because I think, just when you.
Oh, I was going to ask that. Is it though? Is it that? Is it more the pressure of?
I think it's the pressure. I think it's just. I think my whole life just became a whole quest for normality. But maybe if I'm looking for love, I'm doing it maybe for the wrong reasons. I'm doing it for the sake of being normal, rather than for genuine.
Maybe that's why you haven't met anyone yet. Could be. Maybe if you just sort of relax and not compare yourself anymore, and just think, okay, so maybe. If I'm ready for a relationship, then the right person's going to come
honestly, I wish I could follow that advice. I do hear that a lot, but the thing is, it's never quite that simple. So when my brother has a new girlfriend, it's just like, it's an excruciating meeting her. So now I just can't meet her anymore. It's nothing to do with who she is. It's just, I'm not going to lie, it actually it's a trigger for me to self-harm. And that's a habit that I started thinking at my final year at uni. So I would slash myself across various parts of my body and. But do you believe you will meet someone one day? I don't know. Honestly, I wish that. My family would always say, like, would compliment me saying, you're handsome, you're gorgeous, and it sounds bad. I don't think I've ever accepted the compliment because it's like, well,
Because it's come from everyone compliments and says all of this because they mean well. Yeah. It is not cruel, it's not meant to be anything other than we're trying to boost you up, but that can be one of the most difficult things that can cause a barrier between somebody, because if you are saying to me, I don't think I'm handsome, I don't think I'm attractive. Now, in my eyes, I will see something completely different, but we have to start from, okay, let's look at why. Let's discuss that. Because once you accept that and then you can move from there, that's when change can begin. But if you're saying, I don't think I'm handsome, and I'm saying, but you are, where's the therapy? Where's the support? Where's the help? It won't happen. So we need to accept first and then work to change from that point.
So you're going to continue working together?
Well, I don't know whether I'll see you after this year because you leave.
Yeah,
I'll stay in touch.
I'm on the verge of,
We're on Twitter together.
Oh, okay, all
we
right.
chat a lot about the World Cup, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay. Well, Joseph, you know what? I really thank you for coming on today to speak about this, because I've learned something today. In fact, as we can be so quick to say, Audrey saying, oh, you're so handsome, you've got so many things going for you. But if that's not what the person sees, it can just cause that barrier. So that I've learned something about, to be careful the things that I say and to be more understanding of other people. Yeah. Definitely. So thank you so much. How did you feel about sharing your story today?
Not going to lie, it was kind of hard to kind of talk about swearing, I'll be honest, but no. I think it's just been a real release. I mean, it's one thing, talk to a counsellor who I actually have seen for the past few years and it's helped. But, when you're speaking in front of people, who are listening, not for a professional obligation, but just for the sake of listening, actually is quite meaningful. Oh,
brilliant. Well, I'm glad you came on today. I'm so happy.
Thanks.
Audrey, thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
We'll see you again next week. And Joseph, wish you all the best for the future. Really do. Thank you. All right, everybody, don't go away, because after the break, we have Dr. Rob Hicks back to answer any pressing medical questions in this week's Doctor's Answers. And here's one of the questions we received. Do those bracelets that people wear to alleviate arthritic pain actually work, or is it just a way to get money out of people? Find out what Rob has to say after this.
We think we've got a duty to very much equip our children to succeed in life. We wanted to raise awareness of mental health, to talk about it. That's a healthy thing to do, and to give strategies and awareness to our children in how to cope as they move through this next stage in their educational journey. And they put a lot of effort into that dance, and of course the actions and the symbolism as to what they mean. That's also really important.
So now it's time to answer all of your medical questions with Dr. Rob Hicks. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fighting fit.
Brilliant. Okay, yes. Shall we make sure our viewers are fighting fit as well?
Let's try our best,
Okay, let's see. Okay, so first question. This person's saying, I tried to donate blood recently and was quite disappointed when I was told that I couldn't, as my blood count or something like that was too low. I was given a leaflet on ways to eat more iron, and to be honest, I'm quite confused because I really do eat healthily and actually eat more portions of food with iron on a daily basis than on the list that was given to me. I have given blood in the past, so I don't know why I couldn't this time. I told the nurse that I have a thalassemia trait and perhaps my iron was just appearing low because of that. But she seemed to dismiss the idea and said that I can try and donate blood again in 3 months and take iron tablets a couple of weeks before I try again. I'm concerned about taking iron tablets because if I'm not actually low in iron, I heard it's dangerous to take them. Is there a test I can take that distinguishes between a thalassemia trait and low iron?
Simple answer, yes there is.
Oh.
And in fact, what I would suggest that you do is that you have a checkup with your doctor to discuss the fact that you seem to be having a very iron-rich diet, and yet your blood count was low. So yes, you can have those tests done, and I think really it will identify your hemoglobin level, and also you'll be able to have a test done to identify your iron stores to see whether you have got enough iron or whether you're actually iron deficient. And I think it's important that this is investigated simply because there are a number of different causes of iron deficiency. So one is people are not getting enough iron in their diet. Now it sounds like your diet is rich in iron, but it might be that there's a problem absorbing that iron into the system. Women who have very heavy periods, even if they've got a good diet rich in iron and getting enough iron, they're losing it on a monthly basis. So that can leave somebody short of iron. In pregnancy, often, iron levels are low. So if you're a woman and you might be pregnant, then that could be a reason why they wouldn't let you donate blood. And the other thing is whether there's bleeding going on somewhere in the body, and sometimes we find that people who take a lot of anti-inflammatories, for example, that can damage the lining of the stomach and the upper part of the intestine, and that can cause some blood loss which you're not aware of. So I think it's very important that you get yourself checked out, really, so that if there's something that needs treating, it can be treated, and B, you put yourself in a position where you can donate blood in the future, which is a great thing to be doing. In the meantime, make sure you're having a lot of iron in your diet as you're doing, but think about having it with some vitamin C, because that will improve the absorption of the iron into the body, and maybe not having the iron with tea, coffee or dairy products, because actually although these are enjoyable and can be beneficial from a nutrition point of view, that can actually reduce the absorption of iron into the body. So non-meat iron particularly needs vitamin C. So you know about meat, you know about green leafy vegetables, but pulses such as peas, beans, lentils, for example, are rich in iron, as are cereals and breads that are fortified. But get yourself checked out. Let's get to the bottom of why you've got a low blood count in the first place.
Okay. Rob, just a question. You said to have it with vitamin C. Would that just be like an orange juice?
Yeah, a glass of orange juice would be fine.
Or just squeeze a lemon on top?
No, it would be a glass of orange juice would be really good,
okay.
yeah.
All right, brilliant. Okay, next question. Do those bracelets that people wear to alleviate arthritic pain actually work, or is it just a way to get money out of people?
Oh, this is a popular one. This is a popular question.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. The answer is science doesn't support their use, basically, and there are no guidelines. Recognised guidelines to treat arthritis symptoms that say that you should use these sort of bracelets. We're talking about magnet bracelets and copper bracelets. That said, many people do find benefit from them. They're relatively safe for most people, but the effect is likely to be placebo rather than anything to do with the bracelets. And in fact, the studies that have been performed have shown that actually placebo is as good as wearing a copper bracelet or a magnet bracelet. So not dismissing the fact that placebo is a good thing, it's a helpful thing, but it's not the bracelets that are doing any sort of benefit. So it's the belief that something can help that is helping rather than the bracelet itself.
Okay, interesting. And last question for today, Rob. I'm in good health but have been advised by a friend that I should take vitamins. Could you please recommend what I can take and how many milligrams per day?
Another question.
I don't take vitamins, I really should, but...
It gets asked all the time.
Yeah.
And my first question will be, why? Why has your friend suggested that you need to take vitamins? Is it because he or she's taken them and has benefited? Is it because they think that you're under the weather? Have they recognised some symptoms in you that they're concerned about? Because in real life, in practical life, if you eat a balanced, healthy diet, you should get all the vitamins and minerals that you need.
That's what I think.
Yeah? The reality is, sometimes it's difficult to eat a healthy, balanced diet every single day, and that's why some people will turn to a multivitamin, as a sort of form of nutrition insurance while they're getting themselves back on track.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So obviously there's roles for vitamins and minerals. If you're deficient in something like iron, for example, then of course your doctor may recommend that you supplement with iron for a while to correct that. Women who are trying to fall pregnant and in the first 12 weeks of pregnancy are advised to take a folic acid supplement. The benefit of that is it reduces the risk of a child being born with spine defects, neural tube defects like spina bifida. And actually in the UK, many people are advised to take a vitamin D supplement on a regular, if not daily basis. So there are roles for vitamins when you're deficient or if guidelines suggest that it's beneficial. But I would say to you, have a chat with your doctor about whether you have a medical condition or symptoms that indicate you might be deficient before rushing off and taking something that actually you may not actually need. Vitamins and minerals, great when they're needed.
Brilliant. Rob, thank you so much. And we shall see you
My
again
pleasure.
next time.
Yes, you will.
Thank you. Well, everyone, after the break, we'll be welcoming on a lovely couple, Giancarlo and Katie Caldesi, who are chefs, food writers and restaurateurs, and are featured in numerous TV shows such as Return to Tuscany, Masterchef, Saturday Kitchen, Out of the Frying Pan, Sunday Brunch as well. They'll be talking about their new book, The Long and Short of Pasta, and showing us one of their recipes, so don't go away. Hi, I'm Chrissy B, host of the UK's only TV programme dedicated to mental health and well-being, The Chrissy B Show, which airs on MyTV Sky 191 every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Follow our social media on YouTube, Instagram and Twitter at Chrissy B Show and our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. For more information, visit chrissybshow.tv. Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everyone. And now I'm delighted to introduce Giancarlo and Katie Caldesi. Welcome to the show.
Hi,
Thank you very much.
Chrissy. How are you?
It's lovely to have you both on.
Thank you very much.
Okay, but first of all, I'd really like to know, where did your love of cooking come from for both of you?
She can start first.
From my mum. Ever since I was a little girl in the kitchen, if I wanted to see my mum, I had to be there cooking with her. She absolutely loved cooking. And included me as much as possible.
What types of cooking was it?
Yeah, she was quite adventurous actually in the
Okay.
60s and 70s with her cordon bleu and Robert Carrier. And
Nice.
yeah,
Your mum, she was
good.
very good, actually.
She was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about yourself?
Well, you know, I'm a farmer really. So when we gathered the hay together or the wheat or anything, so we had a lot of people coming to help us. And so I was the little boy running around with my mum, my auntie, and then another lady called Elide. They were either smacking me or either taste this and what do you think, is that too salty? And that was very interesting because it was really passionate, it was really real thing. And I remember once I said to Elide, "Ma, questo è un po' salato." I said, "It's a bit salty." She looked at me, she really smacked me one. I wasn't supposed to say that.
Oh,
I was
then you
too
learned the
honest.
hard way.
But truthfully, that's real passion. That's really, really nice.
So when the two of you got together then, would you say that you enhanced each other's skills when it comes to cooking?
no.
Or did it get kind of like...
He will never admit it, but yes.
Oh, okay.
It's true.
All right, so you both love cooking. And...
Yes.
Well, I tell you what's really interesting actually. Katie, and we met her mother, and really seriously, she was a really good cook. I could see and I can tell that she really loved that kind of way. Although she's an accomplished artist, truly, but she had something extra. And in life, when you got something extra, and she had an opportunity to come into my world, that has become our world.
Yeah.
She's really that is no mean feat, really.
My
to be
father
honest.
used to say to me, I won't be happy
Oh
until
yes,
you
I was
have...
going to say that.
Yeah, I won't be happy until you have a restaurant of your
yeah.
own. My father used
Yeah.
to say that to me years before I met him,
Oh,
and years
now you
before I
have
went
it all.
into the food
So
business.
did you
Okay.
get that?
They knew.
Rather knew,
Okay.
yeah.
Very important. Get the restaurateur on your side.
Yeah. Now, you've done a lot of TV appearances as well. Can you tell us about the first one that you did together?
Return to Tuscany was our series on BBC, and it was about us opening a kitchen, a cookery school rather, in Tuscany,
Okay.
and one in London, but also how we got married in Tuscany. And all of this happened in a 6-week period.
That's
And so we
lovely.
got filmed for a documentary.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it all took
Very
off from there?
exciting. Yeah, very exciting. It really was. When you look back, you know, sometimes in life you don't realise what you've done. But when you look back now that I'm obviously old and pensioned and all the rest, I really feel very bad. It was so exciting. It was really brilliant. And it was an amazing time. And we were just saying yesterday, to be perfectly honest, we're also having an amazing time now. It's so wonderful that we're having so many opportunities.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant, really.
We're
And
still cooking.
Yeah.
21 years later.
Do you think it's also got a lot to do with the chemistry between the two of you?
What chemistry?
Like,
You said the chemist. Really?
because you do have this lovely relationship, you can see that. So
No, look, to be very really, it's not just honest. It's not as a per se. Overall, there is an energy and synergy. There is really. Otherwise, you couldn't be together really, because after a while you get two fed up or something. But although we argue, which we do, really we do actually, but no,
very proud of that.
the fact is, the argument brings something together. Funny enough,
Like in your cookbook, maybe.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us about this? Would you like to tell us about this? Is the long and the short of pasta. So how did you come up with this idea and how did you put it all together?
A collection of our favourite pasta recipes,
Okay.
and so there's lots of easy recipes using dried pasta, and there's
Okay.
also how to make fresh pasta and stuffed
Okay.
ravioli and all these more unusual
Linguine
types
with
of-
crab and cream. That
That's
sounds
We
amazing.
nearly made that
nearly
for
made
you.
that for you.
Yes.
You should have said that to me
That's
now. I'm going to be
alright.
expecting it. Black
But-
linguine with
But
crab.
the other
Sounds
thing
lovely.
that's so exciting about this book
Yeah.
is that really you comprise the whole of Italy, to be honest, on recipes.
Okay.
One is from Puglia, one is from Amalfi, one is
Sicily.
from Genova. It's
All
amazing,
different
it really
places.
is. And the variety of say, dishes, and also the pasta in this book is not just a dish, it's a mentality, it's an approach to life. It's something born out of nothing and became a dish. Necessity,
Okay.
not much food, we invent
So
that.
each one has a little story to it.
Incredibly
okay.
so.
But,
Incredibly so.
yeah.
And I think
that's lovely.
Katie, she's a very, very good. She describes what's happened. You know, the little caption.
Yeah.
Well, where we found that
Yes.
recipe, you know, because this is from 20 years of travelling in Italy
Oh,
and
wow.
picking up recipes and working with Italian mamas and chefs and in
It's like gold
restaurants.
dust then,
spotting
really.
things. Yeah.
All these, yeah.
But do you know, we were just saying that what do you learn out of your own country? So I'm Italian, and what Katie has learned, I think I can safely say that I've learned the division between this region to the other region,
Yeah.
without classifying all Southwest regions and people. The difference is so immense, and it shows in a little bit. One person puts an olive, the other person doesn't.
And where the influences came from, so the
Yeah.
history. So when
So
we wrote a
brilliant.
book about Sicilian cooking, it was fascinating to see who had lived in Sicily and who had conquered Sicily, and that's reflected in the cookery.
Wow,
So
okay.
the mixture of ingredients comes from people who have occupied Sicily. So there's lots of
Interesting.
history in cooking as well.
Now, what about the people that say, you know, shouldn't really eat pasta because it's not very healthy? What would you say? Because I love pasta.
I can't eat it because I'm celiac. So for me, it's become a real problem.
Okay.
So I leave that to Katie
and also Giancarlo had diabetes type 2 and he's managed to reverse the condition by having a low carb diet. So
wow.
he could have gluten-free pasta but
Yeah.
chooses not to because it's still high in carbohydrate, and he's trying to avoid
I
that
see.
to
Okay.
keep the diabetes away. However, I love pasta, and so I still eat it, not every day, but probably a couple of times a week I'll have
Okay.
pasta. So
All in moderation.
all in moderation, and it depends on what kind of person you are. So
Okay.
it's not right for him, but it is right for me.
Okay. But you have found a substitute and you're going to show us a little something.
Yes, absolutely.
What are you
But
going to make
you'd be
for us?
surprised actually how you can develop certain things using the same sauces and having this wonderful sort of taste of the
Yeah.
sauce that you know is real. You know
Okay.
where you come from,
Yeah.
but with a different sort of approach. So
Okay.
that's been a revelation. It's been very, very intensive. It's a mindset of what you do, because it's not easy to say, oh, lovely spaghetti, and then you're eating something else. It doesn't quite work that way.
But we have all this collection of these recipes with pasta sauces,
Yeah.
So it would be really sad for him not to have a beautiful ragu, or not to have his father's best tomato sauce or something like that. So we've just come up with lots of ideas as to how he can have all the sauces,
great.
but with something different.
Okay. Now you're going to be preparing something for us
Yeah.
today.
Yes,
What are
absolutely.
you making for us today? Just before we go over to the...
We've got pasta alla cecca, which is a Roman recipe, and it's a mixture of sort of summer ingredients, and it's all cold. So it's chopped olives and
Okay,
chilies and
nice.
tomatoes and lots of herbs, and then we're going to have it in 2 ways.
Okay, all right. So let's go over to our bar, everyone. So Giancarlo and Katie, let's get cooking.
Yes, and we prepare some lovely pasta for you. What is it? I forgot.
Pasta alla cecca, named
More
after
Italian than me.
a Roman restaurateur called Francesca. So this
Okay.
is her recipe, pasta alla cecca. And we've got olives, and chili, garlic, basil,
Capers,
tomatoes,
basil, and also we got parsley. So
Okay.
we put this in, all of it.
Smells lovely. Wow.
It's really summery and fresh,
yeah.
isn't it?
And also we need some
some
mozzarella,
mozzarella.
because that's important mozzarella. This is lovely olive oil.
So I'm just going to tear that in.
And while she's doing that, see,
Okay.
it takes 3 people to make this pasta, remember.
I'm
If you
just
do it-
watching.
Yeah, no, it takes 3 of us, okay? And lots of people watching.
Okay.
So then once you put a lot of olive oil, a little bit more, because I'm Italian.
I love olive oil.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I think
always
it's fantastic.
Extra
Yeah.
virgin olive
Yes.
oil.
Yes.
And you must taste the chilies if you're going to do this dish, because you never know just looking at a red chili if it's hot or not.
Yes.
So you have
Which,
to
we-
taste it from the centre where the pith is, so
Okay.
that because that's where the heat is, not in the seeds like everyone
So
thinks.
then you mix all that up. Can I have a little bit of black pepper, please?
Sure.
Darling? Thank you very much. And,
Tell me when.
Yeah. Go.
More?
So, yeah, we like pepper. We are spicy people. Really. So, basically, what we made here, we made this. It's a little bit more sauce because I want some for my courgettes
Okay.
and some for Katie's pasta. So,
And these were just taken from a courgette with a potato peeler,
Okay.
blanched in hot water. So you can literally just pour a kettle full of water over
Oh,
them in
right,
a colander,
okay.
and then they're ready to go.
Oh, nice.
You don't
Okay.
even need to cook them.
bit of salt
Amazing.
and
Oh, it's
yeah. No, seriously, absolutely
This
fantastic.
smells amazing.
So what we're
really
going to do
does.
now, I'm going to do this, and if I give you a fork, Katie, can you mix my pasta, darling?
Absolutely.
So if you mix my pasta, then I can eat it. That would be fantastic.
You can't eat and talk on TV at the same time.
Yeah. And this we're going to put it all inside here. Okay. So there we go. And so we're going to mix it. And then we put it on that plate. And here we go. Look how beautiful
it
this
is
becomes. Seriously,
beautiful.
it's so delicious and also so
Yeah.
vibrant. It really
Yes,
is.
it is.
I mean, you sort of think that you have to cook sauces, don't you? You don't sort of just
Thank
think, just put it in raw and.
No,
Oh,
but
amazing.
you see, this is what's interesting about this is that you have a summer pasta. You know, it's so lovely
And
with a
then-
lovely glass of red wine. Amazing, really. Or
Beautiful.
white,
Or
if you
chilled
like.
white.
Or chilled white.
If you pass the
Yum, yum,
ricotta,
yum.
I'll do that.
Yeah.
Oh, so what do you do with the ricotta?
So, well, this is quite unusual and something we'd only seen in Roman restaurants.
Yeah.
Is that usually when the pasta is hot, but it doesn't have to be, you take a scoop of ricotta and you make a little canal out of it, like this,
Oh.
and just pop
She's
that
so
on
Okay.
good,
top.
honestly.
Is that why you're letting her do that?
Yeah. But she has to really. That's the artistic part of the
Oh, I
pasta. darling.
see.
It's so important.
Does it
really.
make a difference to the taste of the
Yes.
Oh, it
well,
does.
Come on. Then typical. You see,
And you can have, if you don't want to do a little canal, you can do,
just
Oh,
you
olive
you throw that, and
and a little drizzle of olive oil I would do just on top.
please be my guest.
There you go.
No, you do
Finish
it. You do it. You do it.
Okay, I'll
Come
do it
on,
from
you
here
do
because I
it.
don't want to get
Just so it goes over the white. There, you see
Yeah.
that lovely
Oh,
colour.
I see. Okay.
And this one as well, please.
Oh, this one as well. Okay.
Come on.
I've worked
this
so
is
hard
serious.
today. Look,
It's so serious.
dishes that I've made.
Yes. Put this back just in case.
Thank you.
And
That's
here we
yours.
go. That's my. Oh, sorry.
Where's mine?
sorry.
Hang on. What about me?
You can come in the middle so you can both of us.
That looks lovely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Colourful, beautiful, brilliant, tasty, superb, Italian.
Smells amazing. I
Yum.
don't think I'm going to get any. Probably I'll try mine during the break. I think.
He's taken the spoons away.
Actually,
Okay. Thank you.
seriously, this is very nice.
I know, it
It
smells
is.
nice. Thank you. I will taste some afterwards. Well, Giancarlo and Katie, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your book, these about your book with us, and you have a blog as well. No, you both got your mouth full. So who's going to tell us about the blog?
That one, she speaks proper English.
On Caldesi.com, our website is my blog, and we'll have
Okay.
this recipe on there so people can follow it.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you so much. And
My
guys, as I
pleasure.
said, I
Thank
will
you.
be tasting this as soon as I let you guys go. So, but do join us after the break because we also have on the lovely Lily Suter to answer all of your nutritional questions, such as this one. I've been hearing that water in plastic bottles is not good for you. Am I better off buying a water filter and filtering my normal tap water instead? See what Lily has to say after this.
I thought it's a brilliant idea. It's so important, mental health these days, especially it's coming down into primary school age, so it's really important to get them aware of big issues now, so and to talk about things.
If you don't tell anyone, that depression can just build up on you and make you feel even worse, and then eventually you'll just feel like you don't want to be alive anymore. If you don't tell anybody, nobody can help you, and it will just build on you.
Welcome back to the Chrissy B Show, everybody. So now it's time to answer your nutritional questions, and we have on with us the lovely Lily Suter. Welcome to the show, Lily.
Hello.
So we've got a few questions for you, Lily, and I'm also quite curious about the first one, actually, because it's something that I was also wondering about. So this viewer is saying, I'm really confused about the different things I read and hear about cow's milk. Some nutritionists say that whole cow's milk is good for you. Others say that only organic cow's milk is safe because the cows are healthy. And others say neither organic or non-organic milk is good for you because we are the only mammals to drink the milk of another mammal, and that's not healthy. And then I'm hearing that goat's milk is really good. Please help, I just want to choose the healthiest option.
So there is a lot of confusion around dairy and milk, and it obviously doesn't help with things like the media and headlines, doing lots of sort of extreme headlines around dairy and the safety of it as well. So in general, milk is extremely nourishing to the body. It comes with a lot of calcium. It's one of our main sources of calcium within the diet. Calcium is really, really essential for bone health and teeth. It's also a source of things like B vitamins, which help to convert the food we eat into energy. And protein as well, which is essential for it is essential for bone health, but also for growth, for development, and the growth and maintenance of muscle mass as well. So it's a source of lots of nutrients, and I guess where some confusion lies as to whether we should be having whole milk or we should be going for low-fat milk. And my opinion is there's pros and cons of both. So if you look at full fat milk, the whole milk, it's going to be different from low fat milk in the fact that it actually comes with the additional fat soluble vitamins such as vitamin A and vitamin D. And vitamin D actually works synergistically with calcium to support bone health. You need both of those nutrients. It actually helps to absorb calcium from the gut. So that's where you get the benefit. The other benefit lies actually just in the fact that it's a higher fat product. Fat has got satiating effects, so it can help to almost keep us fuller for longer in a way. But then the downside is obviously a lot of the fat is saturated fats, and if you are having a diet which is extremely high in saturated fats, not necessarily just from dairy but from other sort of animal products, you could be going over your daily limit. Saturated fat is associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. There's a bit of murky waters around dairy and that, but what I would say is if you have a diet which isn't too high in fat anyway, whole milk is absolutely fine.
What about organic or non-organic?
Organic. So when we look at organic milk, there's sort of two areas to focus on. I guess the first one, which people fear, is sort of antibiotic use with the cows. And we do know with organic milk that you can't give antibiotics as a preventative tool ongoing. It's only given to those cows as and when is needed, basically. So we've got very stringent and tight regulations within the UK of non-organic milk in terms of antibiotic use. So it's not something to be too fearful of. The difference lies with the nutrient content of the milk. So because that cow is sort of fed different types of feeds, it's mostly consuming its food from the grass. It's actually been shown to have a higher quantity of healthy omega-3 fats, but also things like iron as well within the milk. So it's got different ratios of vitamins and minerals.
And what do you think of goat's milk?
It doesn't have any specific benefits in comparison to cow's milk. However, some people can digest goat's milk in a better way if they struggle with cow's milk, purely because it could be something to do with the fats and the protein within in goat's milk, but it doesn't mean it's any less allergenic as in comparison to cow's milk.
All right, brilliant. Just going to whiz to the other question, then if we've got time, we'll do the other one about milk, Lily. This person saying, I've been hearing that water in plastic bottles is not good for you. Am I better off buying a water filter and filtering my normal tap water instead?
Okay, so again, there's lots of confusion around water and water bottles. The main concern is the chemicals found in the plastic of water bottles, and the fear is that some chemicals can leach out into the water, specifically chemicals like bisphenol A and dioxins, and the fear is that they could impact human health. So there was a big review conducted in 2015 to suggest that this bisphenol A doesn't actually have a negative effect on human health in terms of our current exposure. Again, any sort of plastic which is used within the UK in terms of any kind of food product or liquids is tightly regulated in terms of the chemicals that are used. So our exposure to these chemicals are well below the threshold. But if you have concerns, or if anyone has concerns over chemicals found in plastics, you can actually buy water bottles which are bisphenol A free. I actually have one at home, and you can even get ones with little filters in, and it's good for the environment, obviously, because you're reusing that water bottle.
And would you take your normal tap water?
Tap water, and we're very lucky in the UK to have safe, healthy sort of tap water to drink, really.
So you just pour that into these bottles and it filters?
And it just filters them. You've got a little filter in the middle and you just carry it around with you.
And do you have to keep changing the filter?
Not really, I don't think so. Not that I haven't changed my filter in a while.
I might find out about that. Okay, brilliant. Oh, we'll definitely do that one. Okay, we've got time for one last one, Lily. Again, about cow's milk. Well, actually changing. I'm trying to switch from cow's milk to plant-based milk, and I'm considering almond milk. However, all the big brand names seem to contain added ingredients and things like emulsifiers, which I know aren't good for you. Can you please advise?
Really depends on why you're switching to the milk alternative. So one thing I didn't cover before, but obviously skimmed milk is very low in fat, and that's one reason why people would choose skimmed milk. The same does go, I guess, for plant-based milks as well. They are much lower in fat, but it depends on why you're going for that milk. If it's just for health reasons, it doesn't necessarily come with additional health benefits. If it's for ethical reasons or for allergies or intolerances, obviously, it's your only choice to go for sort of more plant-based milks. And what I would suggest looking out for is looking at the bottle and seeing, is it fortified with nutrients such as calcium, vitamin D and B12? Because as soon as we exclude a whole food group from our diet, such as dairy, which is a big food group, you are instantly removing a big source of these key vitamins and minerals, which are required for health. And a lot of the more expensive milks, interestingly, tend to not be fortified with these key vitamins and minerals, which is just interesting when you go into specialist health food shops. So always look on the pack. Is it fortified with those vitamins and minerals? And you can get some milks which don't have these emulsifiers in, but a lot of the time they do need them.
Okay, and it's not too harmful, are they? Or?
Not harmful, no. No,
okay.
Not too harmful.
Brilliant. All right. Lily, that's all we've got time for.
Thank
you
you
so much. Really interesting. And we'll see you again very soon.
Yes, see you soon.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, so now it's time for my final thought of the day. Well, everyone, I really hope you've enjoyed our program today, and if you happen to have just tuned in and you've missed the beginning of the program, or the whole program indeed, please do head over to our YouTube channel tomorrow, Chrissy B Show, and you'll find it there. So I'd like to thank all of my guests that we've had on the program today, but especially to Joseph, who was so brave in sharing his story. It was his very first time on TV. I thought he did a great job, and I thought it was really important what he was speaking about. And of course to our new guest that we had on today, Giancarlo and Katie as well, for the lovely dish that they made for us. Now, something I'd like to home in on actually was about the way that we see ourselves. Now, I don't think it's a necessarily bad thing to find faults in yourself, and let me explain what I mean. I think it's a really good thing when we look at ourselves and we even ask other people, what can I do to improve? It's a very difficult question sometimes to ask, first of all, yourself, because it takes a lot of thinking, and you have to really kind of analyze yourself and see maybe the way you react to certain things, and the way maybe that if someone says something and it gets on your nerves, why does it get on your nerves? Why do you get angry? And I think it's even more difficult to actually ask someone else that's close to you or people that you work with, what can I improve? Because to be honest, we all like to kind of think we're doing okay, or especially if you're a perfectionist, you don't really want to hear about your faults. But I think it's a very good thing, because if you are, I would say, humble enough to listen to other people, you could learn so much, and you could develop so much as a person, and change, for example, relationships, change things at work. You can get promoted because of improvements that you make to yourself. There are so many opportunities. So in the right way, in the right context, it's really actually good to find your faults and to change. However, if it's excessive, if all the time you are beating yourself up and saying that you're not good at anything, and all you see are faults, then that is a problem. That is not a normal state. It's not normal to think, for example, that you're ugly, or that you're not good at anything, or that things can never change. That's a very negative way of thinking about yourself. So if you are feeling this way, if you are thinking this way about yourself, it's very, very important that you get that sorted out, because those kind of thoughts could lead to more serious things, and even thoughts such as, well, I'm such a bad person, or I have nothing going for me, so I'm better off and other people are better off if I'm not around anymore. So you can see where I'm going with this. So very, very important, if you are feeling like this, that you do get help as soon as possible. And if you'd like to contact me personally to ask some advice, or for me to put you in contact with organisations that can help you, all you need to do is email me directly on chris@chrissybshow.tv. But if you're just kind of maybe inclined to, it's not that you think everything is bad about you, but you do recognise that there are some good things about you, then it's just about finding that balance. So look at your faults in a positive way, I would say, and find ways that you can get better and improve, but at the same time, don't get to the point where you find nothing good in you. Find a healthy balance, and that will keep you developing well. You are encouraging yourself, you're discovering what you're good at as well, and improving the things that maybe aren't so good about you. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but don't forget, if you have a story to share, just like Joseph did today, all you need to do is email us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet or Instagram us @ChrissyBShow, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about me and my mental health journey and what I did to overcome all of the problems that I had in the past, all you need to do is visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Until next time, bye for now.